Finally, some good news for Padres fans. The day before FanFest, it comes out that the Padres, they avoid arbitration with Michael King, and they have signed him to a contract, a 1-year deal for the 2025 season. But then there's also a mutual option for 2026. And so let's get into the details of this deal. Then I'll have some thoughts on the back end. But this is from Dennis Lin. King's contract guarantees him $7.75 million, but he's not going to be getting paid that this year from the Padres. It contains a $3 million signing bonus. I should clarify. The 7.75, what I mean him not getting paid this year, is some of that will be paid this year with like his actual salary, the base salary, but there's other stuff to help bring down the Padres' luxury tax. So he will get 7.75 million from the Padres. It's just different than what he, maybe both sides at some point earlier this offseason, thought how it would be. If it was an arbitration, if they would have went to arbitration and King would have won his, because he wanted, I think, over 8 million. So they settled essentially in the middle. If they would have gone to arbitration and King wins, or the Padres win, whatever, that's the salary that he would have gotten. But here, they can agree on a contract like this and then have a mutual option for the next year, and you can change how the structure is, how he gets this money. It'll be in different payments. $3 million signing bonus, a $1 million base salary, and for 2026, a $15 million option, mutual option, a $3.75 million buyout. So that's where the 7.75 mil comes from. You've got $3 million for the signing bonus, $1 million for the base salary, that's 4. And then if there's a buyout, 3.75 mil. So 7.75. Or he could get more than that if the mutual options put in there, I think, to protect Michael King. If he gets hurt, if he has a really bad year and doesn't want to go out onto the free agent market, and he can take 15 mil. If you're the Padres, that's why you put that in. I think this was really smart by the Padres, because you can lower that amount that you're actually paying him, in that base salary on the luxury tax, and it saves you some money. King can earn up to an additional $250,000 in incentives based on games started. The agreement extends the Padres' streak of never having gone to an arbitration hearing in A.J. Preller's tenure. Obviously, the last one was Andrew Cashner before Preller was running the show. King filed at 8.8 mil, by the way. Padres were at 7.325. So 7.75, it's not in the middle. Like, that's more on the Padres side of them, like, winning this. But King was like, hey, it's higher than what they initially offered. And then I get the $15 million mutual option as well. There's incentives on it. So he ends up taking it. Where does it say here in this article? You can read, obviously, Dennis Lin's article in The Athletic. Kevin Acee put out a piece. AJ Casville put out a piece. So you can check those out. The new deal does not significantly impact the Padres' luxury tax figure. But I'm reading here, according to Fangraphs, the 2025 payroll dropped by several $1 million to $206 million. And I believe I forget, I apologize to whoever tweeted this out, but I saw that the luxury tax is at like 245 now. It was, I want to say, at 247. So I think it was at least 247. So they save at least a couple mil with this. And every penny counts with this Padres offseason and the situation that they're in, obviously. So I think this is a win for the Padres. You don't have to go try to tear down a player to win the arbitration case. And for Michael King, you still get a good payday. You get, obviously, more than double your salary from this past year. And you have, again, the mutual option if something really bad happens in the 2025 season. The deal defers close to half of King's compensation to 2026 in the form of that buyout. So that's this further proves like the Padres, they just don't have very much money, or else they would just give it to him now, I would think, because that's how they've done like all of their contracts. King did, I'm not quoting him, but he did speak to Kevin Acee, and he was like, it's a weird structure, but whatever, essentially is what he said. He's still happy that like he said that he was excited to see what the arbitration process was going to be like, but he's also excited that they were able to get a deal done to just know what his situation is and to avoid. I mean, if you're a player, do you really want to? Maybe you do, because then that gives you like an out to go sign with another team because you get to see what that team actually thinks of you. Some relationships have been damaged through arbitration. We saw that with the Brewers with a couple of their guys. But as a player at the same time, do you really want a team that you think values you to come in and tear you apart? You probably don't. Like, so at the end of the day, for me, this is a win. Avoiding arbitration, totally a win. The mutual option thing, I think that's more for Michael King than the Padres. The Padres, like, sure, you would take it if he would want to do that, but why would Michael King want to do that unless he uses it? He's using that as like a safety net in case something terrible happens. And then he's like, all right, I'll take the 15 mil. And the Padres would probably take that as well. Although that's a raise. I mean, right now, who knows what their situation is going to be like next year, but right now, they don't want to be paying Dylan Cease 13 plus mil, and they may trade him. He's being mentioned with the Cubs and the Mets. I did see Will Salmon of The Athletic. I didn't read the article yet, but the title of the article was like why a Dylan Cease trade to the Mets isn't likely right now. So there's that. But yeah, I think, look, Michael King needed to be on this Padres team this next season. If you're going to trade Dylan Cease or Michael King, you're trading Dylan Cease, in my opinion. I think Michael King is more realistic to stay with the Padres. He has less innings on that arm. And he looked really good in the postseason. And Dylan Cease against the Dodgers didn't have his best outings. And I'm not saying that those 2 outings is what we should totally judge him off of, but those are big moments. And Michael King, in a big moment in that wild card game against the Braves, shoved and pitched like an ace. So and financially for the Padres, you're picking King as well because he's going to be making $5+ million less than Dylan Cease this next year. At least the full money that he's guaranteed. That's not even the $1 million base salary. That's $12+ million less. But I'm talking about the 775 that is guaranteed to Michael King. So finally, good news out of Padres land ahead of FanFest. I would anticipate Michael King being on one of those player panels at the Q&A, the forums at Gallagher Square. No names have been listed for the leadership forum, though, tomorrow, which is going to start, I believe, at 12:15. Don't expect to hear from the people that we want to hear from. With all the ownership drama, they're not going to be on stage talking about it. In my other video that I put out the other day, I want that to happen. That's the ideal thing. Like, I think Padres fans deserve to hear everything, especially the members that are paying thousands of dollars for this product. I think they deserve that. But what I think is going to happen is they're going to have Manny, Tatis, and Bogarts and Merrill on one of the panels, and then they're going to have probably, I would think Darvish is in town. They'll have pitchers on another. And then for the front office, they'll have Preller and Eric Grupner up there. I don't think Eric Kutsenda is going to go up there and talk. Doesn't seem like that's the guy that he is. And he has a choice. They can't make him. I mean, he's the chairman right now of the team. So I don't think they can make him go up there. So he's more of an in the background guy. He's spoken once publicly. So yeah, that's what I've got today. For those that are going to FanFest, hopefully you enjoy that tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good crowd. It's not going to be 2023. Like, that was different. That was like the Beatles with Soto and Bogey and Manny and Tatis, right? And that was, remember, that was us seeing Tatis for the first time publicly, right? Because he was suspended in 2022. We didn't see him in that postseason run. And then 2023 started the year suspended, but he was still able to be at FanFest. So it was just a lot. I mean, I was in the middle of that like mosh pit in Gallagher Square and couldn't move. I remember showing up like an hour before the forum started because I wanted to be pretty close. But yeah, couldn't move on the walkway there. But yeah, that was a heck of a time. Getting, the Peter Seidler chants. I think there were Preller chants too. I know that photo like haunts us because when we see that photo, we just remember the failure of 2023. But in that moment, that was pretty cool. But for tomorrow, there's going to be good crowds. Padres fans show up. Like, it's going to be still packed, but it's probably not going to feel like, if you were there in 2023, it's probably not going to feel like that. Remember, there was no FanFest last year because it got rained out. Remember, the FanFest was actually going to be the day after the Peter Seidler Memorial, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. They weren't going to do it in February. They were going to do it because there was renovations, I think, at Petco. They were going to do it the day after the memorial on that Sunday, I think. And then you had that week, a few days before the home opener against the Giants, right? Yeah, because Bob Melvin returned in his first game back. But it got rained out. They announced that the day before, I think, or a couple days before maybe, FanFest, that it wasn't going to be happening. But if I remember correctly, I saw people complaining because the weather was actually fine. It wasn't bad that day, but they had to make a decision, not on the day of, because people were making plans for it. So I understood that. But yeah, so this will be the first FanFest in a couple of years. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. Comments from whoever the front office, whoever's representing the front office. We'll see what they say. Preller will speak. I'd be surprised if Preller doesn't speak, but I wouldn't expect much there. Padres, they were in the community today. They did that. They did that last year, right? Maybe they didn't do it last year because there was a lot going on last year with traveling back from South Korea, and there was the memorial when they got back. But I know they did it in 2023, the day before FanFest. They had Merrill out there. I think Salas may have participated in that. But they did it again today. I saw they were at elementary schools, and I think they were at a fire station. They may have gone to the San Diego Zoo. I thought I saw Merrill with an animal. Naval Station. So good on the Padres for doing that. I did see Tom Seidler in one of the pictures. I doubt he would be someone that would go speak. He works in community, and it doesn't seem like he really wants to be out there with all of this stuff going on with the brothers and with Shield. I thought that Tom may have been one of those guys that would have stepped up, but if he doesn't want to do it, then we shouldn't like force him to do it, because then that's probably not setting us up for much success. Ultimately, I still feel like the team's going to get sold at some point here with this financial situation, unless some miracle happens. But yeah, we'll see. Tomorrow should be an interesting day. But hey, some good news going into FanFest. That was nice.